I was wrong about Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion.
I'll be the one to carry on, and you can throw me to the wolves, 'cause now you're undefeatable.
I just want to bring it back to 2009. Cool, okay? Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion is one of the best remasters I've ever seen my whole entire life. The game is actually pretty good and has turned into one of my favorite Final Fantasy spin-off games I've ever played. Shout out to Square Enix for giving your boy a chance to do this and get early access to show y'all off one of the games I'm very, very nostalgic about. This is very like a dream come true to me. But thank y'all so much, Square Enix, once again for sponsoring all the upcoming content over the next couple of days. Now, the combat in Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion is a huge evolution from the original Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII, and I fell in love with something I cannot say until the 13th of December. I'm also a huge fan of how Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion actually looks. It looks pretty close to Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I've seen some takes that people say it looks like a mobile game, but if I'm gonna be honest, this is a pretty good looking mobile game, not gonna lie to y'all. I really love the style of Square Enix mobile games, at least with the recent Final Fantasy VII series or the compilation of things that's happening with Final Fantasy VII Remake right now. It heavily reminds me of Final Fantasy VII First Soldier, and in some aspects, Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, wherever that game is right now. I have a huge hot take about Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion, and to be real honest, I really like the new voice actor for Zack in this game. Now, I was completely wrong. I was wrong thinking it was going to be god awful, like horrible, and there are some parts from where I played in the game so far where the new VA kind of misses, but I think Caleb Pierce is the English dub voice of Zack Fair in Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. And based on what I know, Caleb Pierce was also the voice actor in Final Fantasy VII Remake for Zack as well. He is fairly new and an upcoming voice actor, and I think instead of just being mean or toxic and saying, oh my god, he's so garbage, I think giving him better voice direction is key for him to improving in the future of Final Fantasy VII. Caleb Pierce is most likely going to be around unless something happens with him outside of voice acting. He will probably be around for Rebirth and the next part or whatever else they're going to do with Final Fantasy VII Remake in the future. I'll show some examples of Rick Gomez versus Caleb Pierce in Crisis Core.
So I can cut loose, right?
Use some discretion.
It's showtime.
Zack speaking.
Making progress, Zack?
And Geo. I can cut loose, right?
Within reason.
So again, I was completely wrong because I was terrified that I would just simply hate it. Back then growing up, I didn't really vibe with Crisis Core as much. I wasn't a Zack Fair fan. I found his voice, to be honest with you, it's cool because it's like nostalgic and I'm older now, but if I have to be honest, how I felt with the OG Crisis Core, I kind of got annoyed by Zack. I don't know. That's just maybe me. Y'all can get mad at me for that, but that's just how I felt back then. Like, an example is when I really hate a voice actor, I do something where I just switch the whole dub or language entirely. A quick example is Sonic Frontiers. I'm not a huge fan of Roger Craig Smith, but I'm not going to rant on Twitter or other platforms about it. I may make little jokes, but I'll simply switch to the game to Japanese or any other language that I know or preferred just to do it. I could read, I like reading, so okay, so I'm good with that. But I will not lie, Zack Fair's new voice actor, Caleb Pierce, has grown heavy on me. I was also wrong, and I will have to reiterate, and I'll say 100% the combat is definitely improved in Crisis Core Reunion. I can say with my chest that this combat is better than the original Crisis Core. I think the Florida battle is way better than before, without having the DMV hit the screen and stop the gameplay without being able to skip the cutscenes for certain animations and attacks. I'm so thankful for that. That's a quality of life change that this game needed. In result, Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion is just more than a remaster, to be honest. I think Square Enix was being a little too nice at first calling it a remaster because the gameplay, the cutscene quality, and how some scenes are mastered beautifully make this dang near a remake. Understand though this year that The Last of Us Remake Part 1 dropped, and to be honest, it's kinda exactly the same game. You could have potentially found it at a GameStop bargain bin for like $10 now. However, there's no point in criticizing things like that when you're not a hardcore fan, because you will notice the differences for better or worse. Seeing the word remaster or remake trend on Twitter multiple times in this year, I feel like this was the smartest move from a business perspective with Square Enix and this game. Now they could have just clickbaited and called it Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Remake, But you know how people are about that title or names with the OG, and they could have just made more money, but I think Square Enix made the best move. The PC version of Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion is one of the best remasters of all time. I'm running it on 1080p 60 FPS flawlessly on the game and full screen, and I rarely experience any lag or frame drops within the game itself. I usually am scared to get Square Enix games on PC day one, at least because ports can be very inconsistent, but I recommend this to the max. The only minor complaint is tabbing in and out of the game, and I don't have a second monitor at the moment, so it's kind of annoying, but other than that, it can get a little tedious when you're trying to do stuff with the game, especially when I'm trying to record it. But luckily, I have NVIDIA, and NVIDIA say today, not sponsored. That being said, I will 100% tell everybody that Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion is definitely worth the $50 price tag. Honestly, in a lot of aspects, it should have been a full price game. Not the 70, maybe just 60, but y'all get the point. And you know, doing that would kind of be scummy because the PSP version been out for so many times. And you know how everyone is with emulation, like you could just go play the PSP version. But there's a lot of quality of life changes here that this is kind of groundbreaking for Square Enix with ports, remasters, breaking the line between what's a remake and what's not. That's the best thing that this game has done for Final Fantasy VII and the future of Square Enix with ports. Hope they can keep up with this quality more in the future because I'm super stoked about this. This is dope. That being said, stay tuned for more things fighting games, preferably Street Fighter 6 or Tekken 8. And I also cover JRPGs. I will be covering a lot more Final Fantasy going forward and into 2023. So if you like that content as well, maybe if we get some more Kingdom Hearts stuff, I might just throw it out there again. But I'm gonna have more fun running the channel. I want to do it. And that's how we gonna do it. Join the Discord in the description down below to keep up with all the updates and ask me questions. Don't worry, you can ping me and I'll get to you when I see it. But remember, follow me on Twitter, and also remember, you guys are golden, and that is raw. Squalla, peace, and I'm out.
I've been a devil, I need me an arc and no water. I'm breathing, I feel like time's rolling. Walking this bitch with a Zapato, I'll let you rock it, I keep me a domino. Bitch, on my dick, man, I feel like a Zaki. Stretching that pussy out like it's Pilates. I'm snatching the soul like right out of a body. Fire, I'm spitting, I'm feeling like Dobby. White bitch, blonde hair, looking like Lucy. She from Kyoshi, I paint her face Suki.